Okay, so we're really diving deep today into the mind of David Goggins with his autobiography.
Definitely.
And I know with you, you're not here for just another motivational story. You want, like, the real how-to stuff, right?
Totally.
Like, how can you actually apply this to your life?
Exactly. And Goggins is almost, he's pretty notorious for this no-nonsense, raw approach.
Brutally honest.
Yeah, so I think jumping right in with his early life is a great place to start.
Okay.
He doesn't shy away at all from the really, really harsh realities.
No, he doesn't.
Poverty, abuse, racism. I mean,
it's a lot.
He faced it all.
Yeah, it's heavy stuff for sure.
Yeah.
But I think what's really interesting is that he doesn't see any of these things as, like, just things that happen to him.
Right.
It's almost like he uses them.
Yes.
In a way to fuel his drive.
Yeah, exactly. And he talks about this. I think it's an amazing concept in his book. It's called the cookie jar.
The cookie jar.
And it's not about ignoring like the negative parts of your life or the negative things that have happened.
Right.
But it's about building this mental reserve of positivity and strength that you can then draw upon when things inevitably get tough.
So how does that actually work? Is it like literally picturing a jar full of, like, good memories?
It's a metaphor, of course, but it's such a powerful one.
Okay.
So think about actively storing those moments in your life when you overcame some challenge. Maybe you achieved a goal that you didn't think you could. You showed real grit.
Right.
Those become your cookies.
I like it. Okay.
So Goggins talks about how he would literally vividly recall these moments in his mind, almost relive them in a way to push through any self-doubt or urge to quit.
So we all have those moments, though, right, that we can think back on.
Absolutely.
Like, I think about that presentation I was terrified to give, and I got through it.
Exactly.
Or finishing that marathon.
Yes.
And you're just like, there's no way I could do this.
Yeah.
But you do it.
You dig in.
But that's like fuel then.
It is.
For those other tough times.
That's exactly it. And that's actually what makes his approach so powerful.
Okay.
Because he doesn't just passively recall these memories. He uses them to actively shape his mindset in the current moment.
Interesting.
So he goes on to say that in those moments of really intense struggle when you just want to give up, that's when you reach into your mental cookie jar, you pull out a memory of your own strength, and you use it to push forward.
That's such a like tangible way to frame resilience.
Yeah.
It's not just about enduring hardship.
Right.
It's about actively using it to fuel your own growth.
I love that.
And that leads perfectly into another key concept from the book. And it's interesting because it's called the accountability mirror.
Yes.
And Goggins talks about using this tool to drive incredible physical transformation.
Yeah.
But I think, again, it's about more than just the physical.
It's the mental shift that happens.
Right.
That is so crucial because he wasn't looking in the mirror to admire himself or to, pick apart his flaws.
Yeah.
He was doing it to confront his weaknesses head on.
I used to avoid looking in the mirror.
Really?
If I was feeling down about myself or whatever.
Interesting.
Because I thought it was about vanity. But hearing Goggins talk about it,
right?
It's like, no, you're just dodging honest self-assessment.
That's it. You're avoiding it.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he wants us to understand is that real growth has to start with brutal honesty about where we are right now.
That's true.
And the accountability mirror is not about self-criticism.
Yeah.
It's about identifying areas for improvement.
I like that.
It's about asking yourself what needs to change.
Okay.
About myself to become the person I want to be.
Yeah.
It's powerful stuff.
Yeah, it is. So we've got these tools for mental toughness, the cookie jar, the accountability mirror.
Yeah.
But Goggins does not stop there.
No, he does.
Takes us to like the most extreme level.
He really does.
With the pararescue training, the SEAL training. I mean, we're talking about these things that are literally designed to push people to their absolute breaking point.
Absolutely. And that's where I think his perspective on failure is just so crucial.
Okay.
Because most people, they see failure as the end-all, be-all, right?
Right. Of course. Yeah.
Avoid it at all costs.
Totally.
Goggins views it as data.
Data.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
He says that it's about analyzing those failures, really understanding why they happen so that you can avoid making the same mistakes again.
So it's almost like you turn those failures into a roadmap.
Yes.
For future success.
Exactly.
Instead of letting it completely derail you.
100%.
You use that to kind of chart a better course.
And he's so great at it because he talks about, when he went through SEAL training, he meticulously noted down every single thing that went wrong.
Wow.
every weakness that he needed to address. And then he would attack those weaknesses with even greater ferocity.
So it's not just about physical strength and endurance then. It's like he's mastering his mind.
Absolutely. And, he talks about breaking down those really insurmountable challenges, like running 100 miles into smaller, more manageable chunks.
Right.
So instead of focusing on the entirety of the task, he would just focus on getting through the next hour, the next mile.
Wow.
It's about winning those small battles to ultimately win the war.
That makes sense, though. I mean, you can see how that kind of mental reframing could be so powerful.
It is.
Because you're not getting overwhelmed by the enormity of whatever it is you're trying to do. You're breaking it down into these smaller steps.
And I think visualization was another key tool for him as well.
Okay.
He would spend hours visualizing himself succeeding in his mind.
Interesting.
Really playing out those scenarios to build that confidence and that mental resilience.
So it's almost like he's training his mind with the same intensity as he trains his body.
100%. And all of this, the mental toughness, the reframing of failure, the visualization, it all comes back to, I think one of his core messages, which is stay hard.
Right.
He is all about pushing past those self-imposed limits, embracing discomfort as a catalyst for growth.
Yeah. Stay hard.
Yeah.
It's a powerful message.
It is.
But it's also easy to kind of misinterpret, right?
Totally.
Like, oh, so you just want me to be like this unfeeling,
right.
robot.
Machine. Yeah. And I think that's where this idea of what he calls callousing the mind comes in.
Okay.
Because it really is about building resilience. It's not about, eliminating emotions altogether. It's not about becoming insensitive, but it's about developing that mental fortitude to kind of weather the inevitable, blows that life throws our way.
So how do you actually do that?
Right.
How do you callous your mind without becoming totally emotionally shut down?
Well, I think he would say it starts with acknowledging that discomfort is often a sign of growth.
Right. Sure.
Right? Like he would talk about leaning into those situations that are challenging, the ones that make other people want to retreat.
Right.
And it's not about, seeking out pain for the sake of pain.
Right.
But it's about understanding that real progress often happens outside of our comfort zones. That resonates with me because I think about all those times that I've pushed myself.
Yeah.
Whether it's like at work, trying to do something that seems insurmountable, or even like signing up for that marathon.
Right.
And it's like, you're not comfortable when you're doing it, but then you get that feeling at the end.
Exactly.
Of like, holy crap, I did that.
It's such a good feeling.
I was capable of more than I thought.
Yeah. And that's what he's getting at. He wants us to like really question those self-imposed limitations.
Right.
And ask ourselves, you know what? If I am capable of so much more than I'm giving myself credit for.
Yeah, it's like giving ourselves permission to be tougher.
Totally.
To be more resilient.
And to really kind of, step into that potential.
Yeah. And it's not about, again, denying those emotions, but it's like
building the mental strength to be able to move through them.
Exactly.
And I think, this whole deep dive has been about taking these really powerful and sometimes really uncomfortable lessons from his life and being like, okay.
Yes.
How does this apply to my life?
Exactly. And I think that's what's so great about Goggins is that it's like you asked for it at the top of the show. We want the actionable stuff.
Yeah.
He gives us that. He is not saying that we all need to go out and become Navy SEALs or ultra marathoners.
Right.
But he's challenging us to examine those areas of our lives where we might be holding ourselves back.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I think I'm left with this question of where in your life could a little more callousness, a little more of that mental toughness be a source of strength for you?
Ooh, I like that.
What is that one thing that you've been putting off or that challenge you've been avoiding? Maybe it's time to channel your inner Goggins.
I love it.
Reach into that mental cookie jar.
Yes.
And take that first step.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. It has been intense, it's been insightful, but I think ultimately really empowering.
I